It has finally come. The review of the Twister XTs from Rollerblade. I've had them now for over 2 weeks. I haven't skated them exclusively during that time, but that's given me some perspective on what this offers in terms of fit, performance, etc. compared to other skates. Now, most of the time that the other skates were my Zetra blades that I've talked about. However, I did try some other people's skates in that time, but that gave me a lot of perspective. Quick synopsis, I think these skates are really good. For the money, $300, it's expensive, relatively speaking. I would say it's mid-tier, but they really perform, and they should last a long time. I would say a lot of people would find them suitable as a starting skate, all the way up to people who want to skate, all the time and are quite adept. The fit, I, again, typically wear size 9.5 US. These are the 9.5 size US, and they fit very well. So I would say true to size. They did a very good job with that. So let's get into it. The fit. They provide really excellent pressure distribution, meaning I don't really have hot spots. And hot spots, like at your toes or wherever, you typically get blisters. No issues there. That's awesome. I've definitely had blisters in my Zetra blades. On quads I've tried, rentals or otherwise. These, no issues. So that's awesome. That makes a huge difference, especially if you're skating for long hour sessions. They do feel a bit uncomfortable if I don't warm up. That's something I have with pretty much any skate. Oftentimes I'll drive over half an hour and I'll immediately start skating, and I find my feet are on fire doing that. However, if I warm up, not the case. And I would include the twisters in that. I just thought I'd mention that. Especially if you're a new skater, you'll probably find that these are still uncomfortable. But once your feet relax and you know how to control your ankle and your hip so that you have good balance, you shouldn't have issues. Let's see. They handle vibrations very well. Part of that I think is the liner. Part of that I think is the hydrogen wheels and the fact that they're just so heavy. Or the skate is so heavy. Not ridiculous, but it has a bit more heft than a typical rec skate. So it just dampens so much that would otherwise be really annoying. And when you're skating on asphalt that isn't quite smooth, or sidewalks that aren't that smooth, concrete that's not smooth, that makes a big difference for fatigue and just skating for long hours. Plus, it's safer. You're not losing grip all the time. You make better judgments. So especially if you're skating around people, other skaters, vehicles, and even just in urban environments where there's typically lots of obstacles, it makes a big difference. So very good in that department. Now, part of the fit is the closure system. The closure system I've talked about, it's really good. It's easy to set in. The only issue I have is that it's a bit cumbersome to get on due to the the cuff strap. What you have is, and it's kind of hard to show, you have this piece here, and this tucks underneath this other part of the cuff, and then your cuff strap comes in, locks into this side, and then you tighten it down. I find that doing all of that, because this is TPU, something thermo polyurethane, it's rigid and soft in a way. It's kind of hard to do that part and then bring the strap in, tighten it in, and then at that point it's easy to do the buckle. But this part of holding it and then putting the actual strap into this locking piece, I find is quite difficult or cumbersome. Not a big deal, and the benefit there is that it's super, super stiff. It doesn't move. Very good for long sessions, and it means you don't have to really adjust it, I find. Unless you want to loosen it up so your ankle can move. Maybe you want to try something more intricate. But as far as it's loosening up uncontrollably, no issues. So that part of the fit, it makes a big difference. The laces, I only go up to the ankle. I haven't found a need to go all the way up. Go up to the cuff. I'm sure some people do it. I haven't had a need to do so. The ankle strap, the cuff strap, they do excellent job at securing the boot to your foot. The liner's otherwise comfortable. It works well. I have no issues there. It's a quite durable boot. Obviously, I've only put a few weeks in, but I have some dents and scratches. Hitting something at the toes, at the side, I didn't really feel anything. So if you're doing all sorts of crazy stuff and you might bump into stairs or railing or concrete walls or whatever, you probably won't feel it. So that's a good thing. That means you're not going to fatigue yourself and hurt yourself that easily with these. So I guess we'll talk about some of the other things I've experienced. Racing axles, they are great for maintenance. Easily rotate your wheels, and when you have to do a bearing cleaning, it's really easy. The racing spacers, they do a great job of keeping the spacer aligned. So when you're putting the axle back through the bearings into the frame, that's really easy. Now, most of that stuff, isn't that big of a deal. Obviously, it's like the boot and the liner that people typically focus on, because the frames, the bearings, the wheels, you can change that out. Maybe do a rockered setup, try skate, whatever. But since this is the complete skate, I thought I'd mention it. Let's see. I talked about the vibration, the fit, comfort. There really isn't anything I don't like about this skate. I think it does a great job for kind of the urban freestyle sort of use case. I will say one thing I noticed, it's I think 243 millimeters in length. I believe that's the wheelbase. If not, I'm unsure. But looking at the Zetra blades, I noticed that the Zetra blades had a longer wheelbase. And so these really do a great job when you're trying to move around your feet, basically, when you're doing crossovers and such. Having that shorter frame makes a big difference. Though I do notice a bit of a height increase compared to the Zetra blades. And those are, again, a unibody pinned plastic frame to the boot sort of deal. So they have a benefit of not having as much material, and they can go with a really tight tolerance. So these, you kind of trade that short frame length and therefore wheelbase for having a bit of height. I know the Trinity frames from Powerslide kind of aid with that issue, but I just thought I'd mention that. The height isn't really a big deal, but you might notice it if you're coming from something that's a little bit shorter. But the length otherwise is quite nice. The liners are removable. I usually do that to dust it out because sometimes sand gets inside. I don't notice it, but it's something I just try to keep clean. There's really nothing I don't like. The skate does a lot that's really good. I guess the weight, you might notice it. It's not a big deal. Over time, you'll get accustomed to it. And it lends itself to handling vibration and being durable. So overall, it's a very good skate. Obviously, if you just want the boot or the boot liner, you can do so at a lot of shops and put on your own frames, wheels, bearings. The complete skate itself is very good. I don't see a reason not to buy it just to have it. But yeah, it's a really good skate. I really like it. I plan to put a lot more hours into it because kind of urban freestyle is my favorite form of skating. To me, it gives you the most variety. It allows you to do the most. You can do marathon stuff. You can do not necessarily true aggressive, but you can do a lot of tricks. And it's all in one skate. You don't have to get a bunch of different skates. And it's durable, so if something happens, you probably won't feel it. And at worst case scenario is probably just having to replace these bump plates, the straps. It's not a big deal. A lot of the components, in fact, pretty much every component on here can be replaced. So if you have an issue, you can just buy the components at some time. Now, how long they'll have them in the future, I don't know. I expect 4 years out of this skate at least, but time will tell. But it's really good setup. I like it. Totally recommend it. Again, true to size. I think the fit is very good. I don't think you'll be disappointed with it, regardless of what you have in your collection. So that's that. Highly recommended. I would definitely buy them again. And there are other skates that would fill that route. I was looking at the Powerslide Nexts with the 4x90 setup. Those are really nice. They were just hard to find. They are available occasionally, but those would be something I think that would fill that role. The RB Pro X's from Rollerblade, those I would say are somewhat similar. That would be a great accompanying skate. The FRs, you could either go for the FR1s or the X's. For this price point, you're probably looking towards the ones. Those are really good skates. I just picked the Twister because I like the aesthetic. I like the fit, so I really like it. Now, I was sort of thirst trapped into getting this other skate, and this is the housekeeping session. I'll try and keep it short. A few people I knew bought recently some aggressive skates, and I thought I'd join them and spend a lot of money on aggressive skates. A lot of money for me. Obviously, there's expensive or aggressive skates that cost a lot more, but considering I just bought the Twisters, this is a pretty significant purchase. So there are a ton of really great skates out on the market that I was considering. Them 909s, black, the grays, and also the new Brain Deads. They're coming out in a few weeks. Those look sick. USD Eons, the Mesmers. Those look super cool. And I think those are still on pre-order. I don't think they've been released yet. I think the Roshi's Fifth Elements I really like. I know the M12s are kind of classic, but I think the Fifth Elements fit more what I'm interested in. But I decided on this skate, and I guess some people might be like, you're a bit of a fanboy, but I think this skate is interesting. It's the Rollerblade Blank SK for Sean Keen. It's his pro skate. I was intrigued by it. I did remember the, what do you call it? The trailer or the teaser for this skate back last year. And I think it was in the summer. Very intrigued by the skate. They released it in November and December, depending on where you lived, in size 8, 9, 10 US. That's still what's currently available, though in a few weeks, they will also be released in a full run. I think sizes 5 through 14, 5 through 13 US maybe. So if you haven't been able to get these because of the sizes, they should be available soon. I think some shops are doing pre-orders. These are the size 9, so these are part of the beta. I don't know if they're actually doing any differences between these and the new run, if they're actually making any changes, or if it's something that will show itself in like a future blank skate. So yeah, but the reason I picked these, one, I really like the look. They remind me, after some research, of like the USD Eons. I think those look pretty cool. And they also have obviously a lot of the Rollerblade Solos DNA, which is a skate they had many years ago, relatively speaking. It had a good following. Sean Keen skated the heck out of those, and so they kind of makes sense that he would get the pro skate with kind of the Solos successor, the Blank SK. It's a really cool skate. I like the look of it, and I like the features of it. A lot of it makes sense to me. A lot of the skates I mentioned, I would probably equally buy those, but I went with these. I think for $300 you get a lot. These come with the anti-rockers. They may not be the best anti-rockers, but they're in the box. So comes with that. Great wheels, great bearings. I think the frame attachment to the boot is interesting. Again, that's something I have to kind of figure out. Aggressive skating is completely new to me, but I'll see how I like that. Likewise with the sole plate. I put these on. The fit, it reminds me of the Twister, but it's a bit wider and a bit shorter, but otherwise it fits really well. And I would say it's very comparable. So if you have the Twister and you want a blank, or at least just that mental size comparison, they're basically the same. But I put them on, definitely noticed the weight, but it's, I think, well balanced. Another thing too I noticed was the sole plate. It's quite wide, specifically on the outside of the foot. You can see it's like 2 inches wide. So it's definitely a wide plate. I know some people love wide plates and some people don't. And some people, I would say I'm probably going to become this, would say it depends on the type of tricks you're doing. So in time, once I give this some skate use at a skate park, at other locations, I will give it a review. But because I don't really do aggressive skating as much, and I more prefer the urban freestyle stuff, the Twister's probably what you're going to see more of me in. So these, if I do a review, it will honestly probably be in a few months, just so I can give it the full time. Last bit of housekeeping. I plan to do content. I've done some recording with the Twister. I just don't like the way it looks, even with editing. So I'm going to give it some more time, do things that I think are more interesting. I'm by no means an expert. So, but I also don't want to leave out the like growing pains of being kind of a beginner skater. So I'm planning to do kind of mixed content, but been kind of busy. Plus my knee, I like really messed it up, scraped it, and the healing process has taken forever, but it's finally scabbed over. It's been like 2 weeks. So actually pretty much when I got the Twisters, in fact, one of the days I was skating with them, I really messed up my knee. I was skating still during that time, but a lot of things that I wanted to do kind of limited, but I still did jumps and all sorts of stuff, but not as much as I would have liked, and I still wanted to train to get a little bit better. So in time, I want to work on my jumps, and with these particularly, my grinds and such. So that's content that I want to make. I don't want to just do product reviews. So in time, but yeah, so far the Twisters, really like them. The blanks, I'm going to give them a shot. Hopefully within the next week. A group of people I know, we want to go to the skate park at some point, so we might give that a try soon. And again, I'll try and do some video content because I think that's more interesting than just talking about skates. So if you have any questions, please leave them down below. I'll try to answer them. And I guess a question for the viewers here, I'll ask a few. One is, at the moment, for at least probably 6 months, I don't plan to buy any new skates because at this point, I've covered pretty much everything I'm interested in. But at some point, I think I'd like to add another skate. Now, I'm most intrigued by a 3x110 setup. However, if you have a skate set up otherwise or within that range that you think I would be interested in, please let me know. I've looked into the 3x110s or just tri-skates in general. I've looked into the SUV off-road skates. I haven't really looked into the inline figure skating type, but hey, I might try it out. Who knows? So if you have some models that you think I'd be interested, leave them below. Likewise, I've been watching a ton of aggressive skating videos. If you have any suggestions as to stuff that myself and other people should watch, please link them below. I'd love to go through that and just look at what people are doing, because aggressive is very new to me, and I've kind of watched a bunch of videos, but I'm still sure there's a lot that I haven't covered, and I'd like to kind of culturize, if you will. Anyway, that's all I have. Thanks for watching. Keep skating. Wear your pads if you want. Wear your helmet when you want. Always rotate your wheels. Lube your bearings. Wear good socks. I don't know. But I enjoy skating. I hope you do too. Thanks.